Okay, should be live. Day 16, I believe, of the war in Ukraine. Stream 15. First day yesterday, we didn't stream on Friday night. It's now Saturday night in UK, and in that time off, I've upgraded the stream a little bit. Still work in progress, but trying to make it a bit more streamy, for lack of better words. Welcome everyone, welcome Ronnie, Trainspotting, Techno, good to see lots of familiar faces. Peace, welcome back Katie, there wasn't a stream yesterday. Chris, TB Land, Deckpo Club, Vlatka, Pollock, Al, Lee, Eric, Third Line, Thomas, Victoria, Ethan, Move, Joshua, Cesar, Nathan as well. Welcome everyone. Let me just get over to the live chat. Welcome Lewis, Scruffles, Dylan, Nicholas as well. So yeah, hopefully the sound is good. There is some background noise here. Let me just make sure that is working. Bear with me a second. Hopefully that's not too loud on the background noise, but let me know. Welcome Savage, welcome Andrew, Senior Keanu, Yolanda Mark, welcome Ian. I've got a logo in front of my face, do I? Do I? It's always a bit confusing what I can see and what the stream can see. Oh, is that the YouTube? Oh, okay, yeah, that's the camera's up here. That's the watermark I can't see. Oh well, that logo is actually my face, so it's kind of my face on my face. Could be worse. Welcome back. Engelman, Laura, Slow, Andy, Jim's World, London. Oh, that's my tattoo. Got my sources up. Big kind of diplomatic meetings. German Chancellor. French President having a very long call with Putin. Didn't seem to be much movement. And from what I've seen, I haven't been that close today. From what I've seen, doesn't seem like any major incursion into Kyiv has happened. But I may be wrong. Obviously, we had all the Security Council discussions about biological weapons, biological labs. Welcome Michael Nickel. Michael Nickel is the highest tier member of this channel, I believe, for the karting content. It's always good to have Michael Nickel around. Appreciate your support, Michael. Welcome Tommy. Welcome Yippee. Yeah, so it seems like the Russian, so there was this Russian convoy that we speculated was likely to be backed up on the roads because of the heavy fighting around this airport here. Looks like that convoy has dispersed. That seems to have been the satellite imagery. So whether they've been able to get through a Ukrainian defence somewhere and can now start to really circle Kyiv, I don't know. But it seems that they're struggling to go off the roads as you might expect. I think it's been particularly cold in Kyiv right now. Let's get the weather up. So you can see it's -2 in Warsaw, 1 degree. And I'm not sure these temperatures are always that representative. Sometimes you do have really cold snaps. So possible that the ground may be frozen, which is favourable to the Russians for moving their tanks off the roads. Pollock says the Ukrainians retook 2 towns today, one of which strategically significant to break the siege city. Do you mean, is that in Mariupol? Or maybe Kharkiv? I don't know. Predator drone over Warsaw? Surely not. Surely there's no Predator drone over Warsaw, but let's go check it out. If you got the reg number... Oh. Well, it's showing 416 feet here. But in, yeah, South Warsaw... Not sure what this is, but if you know, let us know. I think if we go to the 3D view, it might be quite low down, yeah. So what this is, I have no idea. We'll track it on the old multi. Along with something else I was tracking, can't remember. Oculus. I've always wondered they have heat in these tanks. I don't know. I do know that you don't really want your ammunition to be ignited when you're in a tank. I don't know about heating. A lot of military equipment I've been in does not have any comforts. Military aircraft and stuff. Even the aircraft that I've flown, you know, feels like it's kind of from the 1950s. EPK is saying test drone's been out all week. Okay. Thanks, Trainspotting. Let us know where that tanker is. Maybe we can try and locate it manually. Is that one that's coming back over to Germany? Let's sort this out. Yeah, if you've got anything you want to discuss, then put it in the chat. That's what this stream is about. We are lucky to have this space. I think I saw a longer interview yesterday the Ukrainian president gave to Sky News in English. Another video today of him out and about, so... Welcome, Luke. No lights. What do you mean no lights? You mean on the cameras? Yeah. This one looks familiar. This is like the Fox News camera, and that is a real blackout. If so. Welcome, Justin. Blackcat, any comment about the drone that fell in Croatia last stream? So I don't know if this will be up here. No, it isn't. But yeah, apparently I think it was a Ukrainian drone landed in Croatia. Two kind of weird things have happened. Ukrainian drone landed in Croatia, and also India accidentally launched a missile into Pakistan. So, two slightly unusual things happening. Might be an enforced blackout, Luke, which we've seen before. We definitely don't have the Maidan Square feed. Let me just see if I can get anything else up. Bear with me. Bear with me a second. So yeah, it's kind of the overlays are a work in progress. I want to write on the top clearly what they are. So I want to have here, this is live UA map, this is flight radar, and like big text, and the stream in the top left. But yeah, I want to take it seriously in terms of from a stream perspective. Yes, this is the first night on this stream that there hasn't been first time this stream in a long while. Quite a few nights there hasn't been a stream from Independence Square. Techno, how do you accidentally launch a missile? Apparently it was undergoing maintenance and it accidentally fired. So, talk about miscalculations. Can you imagine if Russia or the United States were doing maintenance on a missile at the moment and that accidentally misfired? So the Russians now taking over ownership of nuclear plants. I don't know. I mean, that seems like would be something sensible to do if you want to occupy a country, is to control the utilities. Eric, some people also think that Belarus would join the fight. Yeah, I've heard that. I saw a kind of crazy video. Again, we speak about the Belarusian president a lot. Let me see if I can get it up, actually. Bear with me. Rather than people having to do... BRB using my imagination. Bear with me a second. So this is from the Russian President of Russia Twitter account, and this is a Belarusian president meeting with Putin. And I don't really understand the dynamic, but I suspect the dynamic is really interesting, because Russia's access through Belarus has been so critical to the kind of how this war's played out. They wouldn't have been able to get to Kyiv so quickly if it wasn't through the routes from Belarus, through Chernobyl. And I get the impression that, I don't know, what do people think about this dynamic? Welcome, Martin, no worries. Sleep is important. Might Independent Square's been Camel D? Yeah, might be a blackout or power cut, I don't know. Chris, I really wonder if it was Crimea, not Russia, and due to the media blackout, no one's really able to get stories straight. I don't know. I mean, Croatia seems a long way away, and I haven't heard anything more about that story. There's obviously there's quite a few unusual stories that happen from time to time. What have we had? There was the thing on the first day with the APC running over a car in Kyiv, which I think is possibly an accident. What other unusual stories have there been? Obviously, the Chernobyl story kind of continues, but I understand that the spent fuel there isn't at risk of evaporating all of the cooling water. What other stories have there been? The drone landing in Croatia? The US scientist being held hostage at Chernobyl? We didn't hear the end of that. Hopefully the sound is good today, everyone. Let me know. Chris says the Maidan Square camera's configured the CNNT Kyiv. I thought it was a Reuters camera. I always thought it was a Reuters feed that news organisations could subscribe to. That was what I thought it was. I may be wrong. See, I get the feeling that Putin might not really want Belarusian troops if they're going to be a weakness, if that makes sense. The most important thing for Putin was to have access, I feel. So I find the dynamic interesting because possibly the Belarusian president wants to do whatever he can to impress Putin. I understand he's fairly reliant on Russian kind of muscle to, see down any protests and revolts. And Putin just probably calls all of the shots in this relationship. Welcome, Honda. What's the aim of these videos? There's no real aim of these videos. We just felt like it was something very important that we wanted to have a stream on so people could ask questions. And then we did it pretty much every day since. Bajit saying, I'm so proud to be Danish. Tonight, Denmark gathered 22 million euros to the Ukraine people. Wow, was that a televised thing or something? Chris, any thoughts of the 14,000 Syrians? My question with the 14,000 Syrians is, how are they going to get them to Ukraine? Are they going to fly them? That's a lot of planes. Are they going to ship them and go through the Bosphorus? And, Turkey may exercise something there. So how, if there are 14,000 Syrians, how are they going to get them to Ukraine? Welcome Fight Smurf. Chris says there's no point of the stream. Relaxing to watch and a good little... Yeah, there is no point, really. We thought there's a good interview with him in France 24, so I don't know who that is. Welcome, Miss Samich. Welcome, Sherry B. Martin, yeah, sorry. Martin, if you can let us know when if there's a B-52 that pops up on stream, then we can track it. Okay, hello again. Missed a few streams. Really sad but striking to see the unofficial flight zone widening. Any thoughts on how the trade blockade might be impacting Russia's support for the war? I don't really know, to be honest. But this definitely does feel like it's widening as well. From the early days of the war, it's 100% widened. I don't know what the directives are here. I don't know if the directive is wider on the east of Ukraine rather than the west of Ukraine because the risk of things flaring up here or not, I don't know. Gary, they got 150,000 Russians. To an extent, because they were doing training exercises much earlier. To get 15,000 Syrians is still a logistical thing to do, and they will have to get them somewhere or another. Getting Russians to Ukraine is not so much of a problem. You can take them on the trains, but you can't take them on the trains from Syria. Mark Scholes says sanctions seem to always turn the population against the people doing sanctions, not the way around. Yeah, I agree. I mean, how would we feel in the West if we were sanctioned by another country? Welcome, Tina. Enrique Speed, I think the Syria story is more of a scare tactic. I think it might be just a counterpoint to a lot of Western soldiers and like foreign legions arriving in Ukraine. It might just be a counterpoint where Russia's like, well, we have friends in the world too. Although in terms of those friends, remember who voted with Russia in Security in the General Assembly? It was Russia, Belarus, Syria, North Korea, and Eritrea. That was it. Don't think anyone else voted with Russia, so Syria is a big ally there, I guess. Obviously, Assad in Syria pretty much owes his regime to the Russian support of it. Welcome, Sick Boy. Putin is selling Chechens and Syrian militants going in Ukraine, plus the amount of weapons pouring into the country. Anything Europe's stability? I don't know. You can definitely say that there's a lot of weapons pouring in, and in countries where a lot of weapons have poured in previously, perhaps say Afghanistan, doesn't perhaps aid stability. Where are these weapons going to go? They're not biodegradable. Tina, have there been official reports of the foreign legion numbers? I've seen reports somewhere, I can't remember, maybe like 20,000 or something. Someone in chat will know. Wonder how Putin's Middle Eastern mercenaries are going to get on with freezing European weather. I think it can get pretty cold. Get pretty cold in this part of the world as well, but it's more, yeah, maybe culturally, and maybe more in a motivated sense. You know, Assad's loyal soldiers might be very motivated against Syrian rebels in the fight for Syria, but how motivated are they going to be against fighting Ukrainians for Russia in this land that is very different? So I don't know. Horndog, in your honest opinion, how worried are you about this escalating and eventually got of Europe? If not all the world involved? We talk about it a lot. It's just about, logically it shouldn't happen, and we talked a lot about all the logical things in place. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but it just takes a miscalculation, really. Like we saw with the nuclear power plant, shelling very close to these reactors, all it takes is just a miscalculation. Dylan saw 16k for Ukrainian Foreign Legion, also up to 40k, but I doubt it. John A says the mud season is supposed to start pretty soon. Yeah, there was some. People have speculated that China asked Russia to delay to the end of the Olympics. I can't remember what happened because Georgia was in 2008, and which is when the Olympics were in Beijing, and Crimea was in 2014 when the Olympics were in Brazil. So I don't know if anyone knows what happened for those incursions, invasions, special military operations. But if for that kind of story to be true, then China would have been in on it, and that, surely there would have been interceptions there on Russia's plans to invade Ukraine. But maybe that's why there was such solid intelligence. No, I don't know. Oplet says electricity in Kyiv off. Okay. I hope this is just going to be a 2-hour stream. Obviously, if we do, start to see a Russian incursion into Kyiv, then we'll stay late as long as we need to, like we did 2 weekends ago or 3 weekends ago. I can't remember. 2014 was in Russia. Winter Games. Oh, was it? Oh, was 2014 the Football World Cup in Brazil? 2016 the... Okay, so it was Sochi Winter Olympics 2014. I don't really know Sochi, gotta be honest. Here we go, Olympic Village. Formula 1 circuit as well. Well, was a Formula 1 circuit. I don't think it's ever going to become a Formula 1 circuit again. But stranger things have happened. No, we're telling, yeah, if you are enjoying the stream, do feel free to hit the like button. I think one of the things I was struggling with is that for my regular content, I'm always trying to push myself as a streamer. And for this, I've always just deliberately not tried to do anything streamy. And I think I need to reconcile that. So if you do enjoy the space, please do consider hitting that like button. There's 330 people watching. So if we have 35 likers, we can get to that triple digit if we want. Well, if Putin has foreign soldiers going in on him for his side, and that's just the same, I don't understand. But I think you're saying it's the same on both sides, which I can see the point. Dylan, it's crazy how long but also short it's been since the start of the invasion. It seems close, but also so far away. Yeah, I agree. Opulent says World War III started already. I'm not sure about that. If you saw Biden's speech the other day, he was very clear. And actually, this was misreported. So I saw the reporters. It was reported as Biden saying, if America fights World War III in Ukraine, that's World War III. He didn't say that. Biden said, if America fights Russia in Ukraine, then that's World War III. So making it very clear about why American troops are not being deployed into Ukraine, because we speculated in earlier streams about what would happen if Russia invaded Estonia, and I said, is there a theoretical kind of threshold where NATO wouldn't react? And from Biden's rhetoric, it's very strong that America would react on that, and I think he said every inch of NATO territory would be defended. You can probably row across this lake into Russia. But yeah, he was making the point very clear that if American troops were to fight Russian troops in Ukraine, then that is World War III. And that's kind of exactly what we've been saying. When it seems like Putin is pushing for a bigger war. Thanks everyone. Until we got to... I can only see I can only see the first digit. So when I see 7 on light, I don't think we have 700 lights. There's probably 70. I can see a 1. Thanks, Techno, for that. We can check that out another time. Yeah, the fuel price is getting high. I think it's about £1.70 now in the UK for petrol. For gas, for our American friends. Working flat out. Ian, one thing I found weird is that for years Roman Abramovich was like a media darling. This week he's like the Antichrist. Well, I don't know about that because... And I'm probably going to go and see my football team tomorrow. But I found it interesting because where is Stamford Bridge here? Firstly, do we have any Chelsea fans in the chat? There are 350 people watching. So is anyone in the chat who supports Chelsea FC? Because this is a pretty, in some ways, one of the most prominent sanctions, at least in the UK. I don't own a football team now. Welcome Angelina Knox. Anti-sports Man City. Dekpo Club is a hammer. Vibrata's blue, so Vibrata might be a Chelsea fan. So what I found, it's like, so for anyone who doesn't know, as part of the sanctions, I think about 2 days ago, the UK government sanctioned Roman Abramovich and directly, I think, have essentially frozen Chelsea Football Club. So Chelsea Football Club is arguably, well, is one of the world's most successful football teams in the last few years. And I'm not a Chelsea fan. But they're one of the world's most successful football teams, one of the world's biggest football teams, owned by Roman Abramovich through different companies. And about a week ago, he said that he wanted to sell it. But before there's been any sale agreed, the UK government essentially frozen it and is not allowing any transfers, not allowing, I think, even tickets to be sold. It's just the bare bones for it to continue playing. And Chelsea fans at their next game were singing Roman Abramovich's name. And if you go on forums or you're just aware of football stuff, a lot of Chelsea fans are outraged by this, saying, why is Chelsea being sanctioned? You know, what about Man City, who are owned by, is it Abu Dhabi, perhaps, owners? People saying, what about Newcastle, that are owned by Saudi Arabian owners? And I think it just shows just how effective sports washing can be. Because football is something that's so tribal. We speak about a lot about tribalism in these streams. And through that sports washing, and Roman Abramovich, let's just say, may have been one of the best owners in English football history in terms of what he did for Chelsea, investing loads of money, not taking money out, taking them to Champions League winners, Premier League winners, bringing a lot of success to Chelsea and being very highly regarded by Chelsea fans, to the extent that now they are really unhappy about these sanctions, which makes a lot of logical. I'm not questioning anything logically here, but I think it shows us how effective sports washing is. So when you look at Formula One right now in Bahrain, Formula One was in Sochi, Formula One in Saudi Arabia, these things are effective. Can't sell Chelsea merchandise either. Just says silly comparisons. So I think if anyone was a football fan, and specifically a Chelsea fan, you would feel the same way. You would feel like, well, why is my club now a serious risk? You know, can't do any transfers, can't re-sign players. Might go really bad for Chelsea, like really bad. And you know, why specifically Chelsea when they're you know, did Abramovich have a direct connection to Putin? Maybe he did a long time ago, but he doesn't seem to now. They would say, what about, you know, Newcastle's owners? Isn't this, why specifically Chelsea? I think a lot of people feel the same way, but ultimately, it's, you know, if the clearest way to put it is, if Roman Abramovich had never bought a football club in the UK, no Chelsea fan would right now be defending Roman Abramovich. But because he bought Chelsea, a lot of Chelsea fans are defending him, so there's not a big point to make. Matt Speed, what is sports watching? Just a term thrown by Jealous Legacy. And it's Ian, sorry to throw in a Chelsea hand grenade. Yeah, I know. That is very divisive, but I rolled with it. Techno says, being from Wales and more of a rugby fan, sorry to hear about your result against France, I think yesterday. Andreas, no media reports that a lot of Belarusian soldiers and officers refused to fight. Maybe. To what extent Lukashenko has kind of absolute control of his armies like Putin does is a different question. Okay, personally, I think we should maybe not have dictators in sports teams. I don't think any dictators in sports teams. It's kind of perhaps individuals who have gained their wealth from association with, rulers of countries. So there is a debatable question there. The point I was simply making is that if Abramovich had never bought Chelsea, no Chelsea fans would be defending him. But Abramovich bought Chelsea, and there are Chelsea fans defending him or saying he's shouldn't be sanctioned because he's not a direct supporter of Putin. But yes. Jeff says many of the sanctions are virtual signalling and end up affecting the civilians disproportionately. Real sanctions like all gas and mineral not done. I would say all sanctions pretty much affect civilians. And it's going to affect civilians in the West and in Russia. In the West, gas prices are going to get very, very expensive. I don't know. It's going to disproportionately affect people who paying energy bills, paying for food, paying for basic resources is a higher percentage of their income. It will affect them disproportionately more. If you're a millionaire, your gas bill going up by a bit probably doesn't affect you as much. So yeah, the sanctions in Russia, they're going to affect the ordinary man and woman. It's a very blunt instrument, but it's one of the only instruments that I think the West would say they have short of military intervention, which they didn't see as viable for the reasons that we've spoken about a lot. Johnny, last UK defence review again downsized the army, now the smallest being 700s. Not necessarily a bad reason for that if the army's in more modernised, but I don't really know. Welcome, Brian King. Flat out, I believe within 2 to 3 months Putin will be on trial. How do you see that playing out, flat out? Okay, personally, I thought the recent Olympic doping scandal was pretty upsetting as well. Somehow it seems like international sport needs to be disentangled from repressive governments. Don't fully understand, but obviously with the McLaren report, I don't know if anyone has seen the movie Icarus. Movie or documentary. But I think Russia withdrew from the Council of Europe. I just want to check that. Yeah, I've seen a few reports a couple of days ago saying Russia is pulling out of the Council of Europe. I haven't really seen it confirmed by major agencies, so I don't know, but I do suspect Russia is going to withdraw from international framework bodies. Partly because it doesn't want to play by those rules, and partly because it will want to leave before it's kicked out in kind of a strongman way. And I think that's a very sad thing. Welcome, G. When it doesn't know if the power plant is emitting radiation, someone put in the chat a link to a website which apparently tracks the radiation, although I understand that Chernobyl, the readings are out, but I imagine in the surrounding areas it might be. Welcome, Faish. Welcome, Fionn. Yeah, Justin. Justin has been on this channel. Eco-terrorist is Justin. It's a bit weird how I know people's names. Probably subscribe on this channel when we were about... Well, Justin will let you know how many people were watching. And one of the first things Justin said was, yeah, he's got solar power. That was, what, more than 2 years ago? Kremlin's statement that left Council of Europe. The Council of Europe, I believe, if I recall, is the body that essentially oversees the European Charter of Human Rights. So the right to life, the right to... I can't remember the rights. We probably should know our rights. The right to life, the right to privacy, the right to... I can't remember some other rights. Hang on, I really should know that. So you can see why yeah, Council of Europe has 47 member states, 27 of which are in the European Union. Let me see if it lists members on its website. "47 member states. Russian Federation is still there. Not keeping bear arms. That's an American amendment. Pat Sharp says 95% of the chat are leading us into World War III without even knowing. I can guarantee you no one in this chat is leading it. We don't have the ability to lead anyone into World War III. Background up a little bit, okay. Mark Schools, does anyone feel a little ghoulish? Thanks, Rip and Dip. Let us know what that flight is about. Royal Air Force Voyager returning to Cyprus, I believe. So perhaps we can see if it's been relieved. Doesn't look like anything on radar relieving it. No visible Eurofighter escort this time. On the transponders anyway. Techno, no one wants World War III here. We want it all to end. Too many families have had loved ones lost to a senseless war. Operation, what you want to call it. Patch Shots Money, you just proved my point. Oh my gosh. Right, Pedro says, where is Putin? Don't know. Just going to throw something up in the chat, a poll. Matt Speed talking about infected bats. Yeah, I heard about that, Phil. I'm not sure if you talked about it yet. The Kremlin talked about targeting foreign weapons aid to Ukraine. Do you think they'll redo this? Are they looking for an excuse to start World War III? I think they're probably highlighting it. But, you know, you could say on the other hand that Belarus has been providing, you know, huge amounts of assistance to Russia, not least access. I'd be incredibly surprised if any transport to outside of Ukrainian borders is targeted by Russia. But I just don't know. That would be an escalation. And for what benefit would that give Russia? I really, in all kind of logic, you would think that Russia really doesn't want to get into World War III. You know, according to Russia's logic, it wants to, you know, control Ukraine or essentially prevent Ukraine from becoming vertical as a Western country, whether that's just, you know, inherently Western leaning, consistently joining the European Union, or worst case being part of NATO. And with Putin's kind of salami slicing previously, Crimea, Donbass, Georgia, you know, he's never really pushed. This is the furthest he's pushed it. But again, we just don't know. And that assumes that things are going Russia's way. If things don't go Russia's way, then the calculations changed. So we've got 105 votes in, and it's pretty split actually. Yes, 44, blessed, no 56. Welcome everyone, by the way. 383 people watching. Welcome along. Mark, does a large river, the Dnieper, give them a splitting point? Perhaps. Perhaps. It's interesting that, again, I haven't seen any reports of a push into Odessa. You would imagine that Russia would quite like to landlock Ukraine. I'm not sure that's an acceptable de-escalation point if Russia splits Ukraine. So you can remember the river goes through Kyiv as well. So you have a west and an east Kyiv. You know, obviously calls back to East and West Berlin. I don't know. If Russia was to try and manage a kind of strategic retreat from its full objectives here, or claim that it was always wanting to kind of it was these regions really, I can't see any of the sanctions being lifted off the base of that. Thanks, John McCormick, for the 125 Filipino pesos. Good morning from the Philippines. 6:40 a.m. Good evening from London. Hope all is good, John. Ex-veteran, I believe. Techno says they want Odessa for its strategic link-up. Martin, Odessa is perfect for link-up with Moldova. That is true. Again, surprised that we haven't heard more about Moldova. You know, what is being done to shore up Moldova? You know, should Moldova, you know, made an application to join the European Union? Should it try and welcome Western troops? I don't know if there's any treaties in place as a result of this Breka region here. Transnistria. What about Belarus? Any big sanctions on Belarus? Is it possible to prize away the Belarusian president from the Russian president? John says Odessa is an ideal deep warm water port for Russia. I mean, they always had Sochi. I don't know if Sochi is a massive port. It doesn't seem to be a massive port. I understand Sevastopol is a much bigger port. Or like a deep water port. Mo says Moldova can't join the EU until they don't recognise Transnistria as an independent region. Okay. Thanks, Techno. Wasn't it today Latvia step up military defence? Thanks to the £5, Techno. I don't know. I haven't seen that. But I do know that the United States sent over a number of thousands of troops to deploy in NATO forces in NATO's Eastern Front in Ukraine, in Europe. So I don't know. But I imagine that these Baltic states are very happy that they're in NATO. Ian says Black Sea is limited military access by agreement or restriction by Turkey. So a bit of a poor warm water port, but it is a warm water port. So it is accessible all year round. And I think the Bosphorus is essentially those treaties controlling what Turkey can and cannot do to prevent it from stopping ships across through the Bosphorus. Or at the moment, I understand they've invoked something so Russia can't bring ships from different fleets into the Black Sea. Welcome, Havid. Yeah, I saw Moldova formally applied. I don't know. I think there was a meeting perhaps in Versailles where the EU may have considered the applications from Ukraine, Moldova and Georgia. I don't know what the outcome of that was. Yeah, Mark Scholes. Yeah, in Alien, the space station is called Sevastopol. Anyone's played Alien Isolation? Which is a good game. Ian says the treaty limits the tonnage of military ships. How does that work then? Because surely when that treaty was drawn up, the tonnage was very different on ships. Does it get updated from time to time? John says no air traffic over Belarus. Not at the moment. But there's rarely... The only air traffic over Belarus we've seen has been flights from Belarus to Russia, or kind of private jets transiting through. Whoa, thanks Chris Ryan for the $9.99. Thank you so much, Chris, for $10 donation. You can see I've added some stream stuff so you get that recognition on stream. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we had a night off yesterday, and yeah, it's good to take time off, I think. And do you see my comment regarding Erbil? No, I didn't, I'm afraid. I did not see your comment regarding Erbil. Martin, during Thursday, saw EU leaders emphasise once again that a speedy path to block membership. Do you mean a speedy path to get membership? Because I saw the applications as very largely symbolic. Luke saying, anyone else seeing what's happening in Iraq right now? Again, I'm not on top of that. Let me just refresh my sources. Rocket strike on the US consulate. I mean, how unusual is that? I don't know. I'd wager it's not massively unusual. Maybe wrong. Maybe it was another maintenance issue. Will Sweden and Finland join NATO? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think one can't join without the other joining, so. I think Finland has indicated that it's leaning more towards joining now. I'm not sure Sweden is the same. Maybe check flight radar on Iraq. Well, here's Erbil. And here's a Condor flight. Follow me. Bit suspicious. So, is anyone else heading in? Where's this plane going? That's going to Dubai. And looks as though it might be trying to avoid Iraqi airspace. This Bombardier private jet. US Air Force Bombardier private jet It's had a very weird flight plan, hasn't it? Looks like it might be heading straight to Erbil. Derek says your authorities are lying to you. Everyone probably gets lied to. But some lies are different to other lies. Says this Bombardier US Air Force private jet. No call sign. Should we track it, chat? Should we go into the old... let's go into the old 3D view. Get a bit of Iraqi landscape. There we go. Tim Ruddle says Moldova is hosting this year's NATO War Games. 30 countries involved. That comment makes it sound like it's some sort of like Eurovision. But if Moldova is hosting NATO War Games, I don't see how they can go ahead without it being extremely provocative. G says Russia has threatened Sweden and Finland again. But the Sweden minister's response was epic. The more you threaten us, the more reason we have to apply to NATO. That is true. That is true. Do you know there are lies on both sides? There certainly are some right-wing groups in Ukraine. The real question is whether they are fringe or more prominent. We spoke a lot about this yesterday, didn't we? Ah, is that... Maybe the transponder is not too accurate. What is grit 23 here? So that Condor flight is one of the few... Right, let's see what... This one's meant to go to Doha. So... Let's see... what this... Is it a 747 cargo plane does? Yeah, this is the big boy. See if he avoids Iraqi airspace. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, if you are enjoying the stream, 442 people. It's a bit like a football formation. Do feel free to hit that like button. If you are enjoying the space, it's up to you, but it really does help the stream. Depot Club, I believe that Finland, Norway, Georgia, Moldova and Ukraine will somehow be fast-tracked into the EU. Perhaps. I mean, crazy times call for different measures, right? But again, I don't know. Mode, anyone know if there's 24 radar, but like there is, it's called Ship Planner or something? Marine traffic, that's it. Ship Planner may or may not exist, that's what I thought it was called. Yeah, Sweden is in the EU. I've been to Sweden, it is in the EU, but they have their different currency. Same in Norway, same in Finland, same in Denmark. So, yeah. Difference between countries. So Norway is not in the EU. I want to get this right. Denmark and Sweden are in the EU. Norway isn't, but has a very close economic relationship, if I understand correctly. Yeah, I was thinking the other day about um, Ukraine as a buffer state and uh, the statement made by China that Ukraine has to be a bridge between the East and the West. In a way, and it's hard to take ourselves out of our context, which is a Western context, because this stream is no longer available in Russia. It's hard to take ourselves out of the Western context and try and look at it neutrally. So I thought a possible, not a very good analogy, but some level of analogy to Ukraine being a buffer state, i.e., if Ukraine looks too much towards Russia, it's going to get pressure from the West. If Ukraine looks too much towards the West, it's going to get pressure from Russia. Now, you could say that when Ukraine's had Russian heads of state, the West has supported revolutions and protests, etc. And when Ukraine has had a Western government, Russia, now has invaded them before the annexation of Crimea, etc. And so a possible but bad analogy would be Northern Ireland. So if Northern Ireland had there's a power sharing government that sometimes exists, at the moment doesn't exist. But if for whatever reason Northern Ireland was really wanting to become part of mainland Ireland, there would be pressure from, I think Northern Ireland is part of, I'm going to get this wrong. Northern Ireland is part of Great Britain. Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, but it's not part of Great Britain. I probably got that wrong. I should know that. And on the other side, if Northern Ireland really wanted to kind of become even stronger, closely associated with the UK, or like completely cut off ties with Ireland, that would have pressure from the Irish side. It's a really bad analogy, but I'm trying to think of states caught in the middle like that. That was a terrible analogy. But just one that's obviously closer to home. Does anyone have any better examples of like buffer states? Great Britain is just the island. Okay, fine. So Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but it's not part of Great Britain. Far-fetched. Could Northern Ireland join the European Union? That is another series of streams which we're not going to do. Chris, if you were mixing up what Great Britain is, it makes me feel better about Big View. Yeah, and then you have the British Isles, which include Ireland, and then you have the British and Irish Lions, the rugby team, which includes all of these nations. And then you have the Irish rugby team, which is both Ireland and Northern Ireland, but for football, it's Republic of Ireland and separately Northern Ireland. So it's not the... I should know. I'm making excuses. Yippee, Belarus is a buffer state to Russia. So again, in Belarus, I think there were protests last year. If protests in Belarus were to overthrow their president and elect a more Western-leaning representative, you can imagine. You can put the link, if you can write the title, you can put the title in. Obviously, links are disabled for good reasons in this chat. Pollock, is more like owning a house between different properties and not being part of either. Pressure from both sides and totally stuck in the middle. Yes, if the reality with a capital R is that Ukraine is stuck between the West and the East. And that's the reality of the situation. Maybe the Chinese position is on this, that statement, it has to be a bridge, is it cannot be anything other than the bridge in reality. Don't forget Gibraltar, yeah, good point. And the Falkland Islands, or Las Malvinas, depending on your perspective on that. Enrique Speed, I think it's increasingly likely you'll get another DMZ in some buffer states. I don't know what the situation is in Cyprus, but obviously there was a similar situation in Cyprus, and I'm not well versed enough in what happened in Cyprus actually, but Cyprus was perhaps a good example. Obviously, more Turkish side and more Greek side. Rob JW, when do people think the war will end realistically? Well, in the vote, it's got 313 votes, and 40% saying we'll still be continuing in 1 year, 6% saying no. So I don't know what's happened in Iraq, but I'm afraid. Can't see that Italian tanker. Michael, what is the common call sign for a B-52? I don't know, but if Martin in the chat is watching, Martin is like a hawk for B-52s. No B-52 in the world even opens the cargo door without Martin being immediately on it. So Martin has got B-52s on lock. Addy says the war in Ukraine has already been going on for years. That's a fair perspective. Andy says war never ends. Matt Speed says war will end when Zelensky surrenders or when Russia can control of Ukraine. What if Russia's not successful, Matt Speed? Fafnir team 52s with Thor. Okay, let us know, Fafnir, if you see any. Katie just saying love chat. Nicholas, legend has it. Yeah. Some say. What's it? Yeah, some say he was born in a B-52. And he also designed the B-52. We know him as Martin. Jason, are they still using the that Turkish drone TBT? I believe so, yes. CP, really important point about Northern Ireland peace lines that exist, so few people are aware of massive walls with gates which close at night. Please show these walls to raise awareness of the crazy situations. I can't really show them in this map, but I don't know too much about that, I'm afraid. So probably a good example of perhaps why there should be more awareness. Rob, I was thinking, where do all these Russian soldiers sleep at night? Well, they'll be establishing forward operating base, etc. But it's a very good point in terms of if you're Ukrainian, you know, this difference between defending a territory and invading one. The Russians have to either establish or take over existing infrastructure and either establish or take over accommodation, etc. Welcome Stevie Moore in the house. Ed says Russian mothers will stop the war. Derek says there's no such thing as Ukraine. Matt says looks like that RF flight just dropped off in Poland, just whistled Lviv. Yeah, just taken off here, I think. Possibly dropped off some supplies. Tuna says there's no way Russia fails to take Ukraine. It's just a matter of time. Michael, for the past couple of days, have seen tornadoes escort AWACS over the English Channel. I don't know. I didn't think that many tornadoes were still active, to be honest. Let us know if you have a call sign for a tornado. Did we lose our... What was it? C-17? Could, for example, an airline from China start running flights from EU to Russia? No. But a lot of flights would be going from Moscow to Turkey, for example. So imagine the vast majority of these flights may be going to Turkey and Middle East. So there's nothing... If you want to get to Russia, I don't think there's... I'm not sure what's stopping you flying to Istanbul, for example. And then changing? I don't know. Hayward, the main reason why Turkey is not yet a member of the EU is probably because the EU does not recognise the occupation of Cyprus. I think there's probably a lot of reasons. I think going back like 15 years, you know, one of the biggest kind of tensions seemed to be, you know, in Europe seemed to be between Greece and Turkey over Cyprus, but that is almost just barely talked about these days, it seems. Yanko, I hate these double standards. US is pure evil to the world for me. Welcome, Mark. Welcome, SimHub. Martin's in the house. Martin, they gave the B-52s nice names like Gorgon, Tribe, Tribe 41. Yeah, we've got Train Spotting, who roams the military bases in the UK, and got Michael as well. Tim thought tornadoes were all retired a few years ago. Steve Moore, tornadoes are mothballed but have been brought back in service now in NATO countries. Okay. Alison's seen tornadoes. I thought the tornadoes were now out of service, but. Maybe wrong on that. Rebel, presumably the single northern column had full air cover. Now the column is split. Would have been one or more. They haven't split over. They won't have split over that big a distance, though. So I'm not sure. White Lightning, Twister Dragon. Does it really matter if Russia wins if it bombs most of the major cities into part wastelands after rebuild everything? In a way. Maybe that is still a victory if this land is being deprived of becoming kind of inherently Western leaning. I don't know. But I don't know. Techno just had a check. Can't find any beef to say. Okay, keep us updated because they do pop up from time to time. Adam, do you think this is the top of the iceberg? And because we haven't been exposed to fighting in the modern world in Europe, it seems more horrific than it actually can be. Does anyone feel kind of desensitized? Does anyone feel like it just inherently is more normal now that there is such, as terrible it is as there is so much destruction and fighting in Ukraine? I think it's almost impossible to say that it's now less shocking than it was. Not saying that's right or wrong, but I don't know. Johnny stood on the Cyprus border. Matt Speed saying Erdogan will take over the EU. Get pretty long odds on that, so if you back it, head to your bookie, I say. Chris, as ex-army, they will be sleeping in harbour areas Makeshift defensive positions under ponchos and in Arctic sleeping bags. In that cold, it will be grim conditions. They'll be feeling it unless rotated. How will the rotation work? What's the ideal rotation, Chris? Is it rotating troops on the front lines? How does it work with armor columns? Ronnie, has Russia not made newer style tanks? Russia does have newer tanks, T-14 tanks, with I think better, reactive armor, infrared, stuff like that. But they're just not in full production. They're still in prototyping stage. So this war has come too soon for them to really deploy T-14s in big numbers. So they'll still be using T-72s, T-90s, I imagine. And I have to say, it doesn't seem like the reactive armour is... So I think the T-90s have reactive armour. It doesn't seem to be doing too much, but I don't know. Thanks, Yolanda. Is that up now? Ian, not desensitised yet. Kind of waiting things to get worse when they attack Kyiv. Fafnir used to go on holiday to the west coast of Scotland near a big Cold War airbase. Got buzzed by tornadoes doing 500 knots at 200 feet. Wow. I need to sit up, don't I? Sit up straight. Hang on. There we go. Matt's West. Javelins are designed to defeat reactive armour. Okay. Is a javelin the one that goes over the top and then it comes down? Dylan, T-72A has been seen in mainstream Russian army use. Andrew, can we all agree Russia's biggest hurdle issue is simply logistics? If they were better in that regards, Kyiv would be under real siege right now. Maybe too early to say still, I don't know. Maybe too early to say. It's kind of scary to think, how long this is going on. I understand that actually, I don't want to get this wrong. Does anyone know what the figure is of people that have fled Kyiv? I think it's a staggering amount of people. Civilians. Map speed, Israel PM asked Zelensky surrender. I think that was debunked, actually, by the Israelis. Mark, I haven't seen any of the T-14. I don't think the T-14 exists out of prototyping. Debt Poker Club, my take on this is that Russia seems to have a vision of war that is still in the 1950s. And despite whatever result, the world of war changed forever. We spoke a lot in the early streams about rationale of Putin and how when you are in a more authoritarian political system, it's more likely that when you concentrate power in one person, they become more isolated. They're less. You hear less criticism. You hear less diversity of views, and it may be that people were afraid to tell Putin that, hey, our army is not as effective as we thought, or hey, we really should not invade now because the ground conditions are not favourable in terms of the mud, etc. And that might just be a Achilles heel of authoritarian political systems, that the more you concentrate power into one person, that has, in a very high level sense, has benefits in terms of clarity of vision and you could say more able to get that leader to be more inspiring because they appear so dominant, because they are less they receive less criticism. But then part of an Achilles heel, part of a negative, maybe that they just fact you're going to receive less honest, accurate intelligence and stuff like that. So we will see. Let's see what's going on over Erbil. So here is that Bombardier, still difficult to say. And that is a Boeing Stratotanker. Okay, what is going on in Iraq? Follow me still up, but with no idea what that is. Let's see if this Qatar cargo 747 is going to head directly over Erbil. Creative Victor, I'm confused regarding the military command competence. Feels like the promoted command's based on loyalty. When was the last major Russia war? Well, 2 Chechen wars. They're also active in Syria. Georgia, 2008. Rebel line N-Law seems to target the meeting of tank body and turret, which has no reactive armor covering. Justin reminds me of Lee stuck on the train tracks. Yeah. Another plane's just popped up here. What's this? No call sign. Whoa! What is going on over Iraq? Okay, what's the deal in Iraq? 2 Stratotankers, presumably fighter jets up in the air. Kilo 19, K-19, K-19 Widowmaker. Reactive armor designed to defeat shaped charges not effective against kinetic rounds. John, a very strange tactic the Russians are using. Okay, the longer we look at these flight patterns, the more real the new Iron Curtain feels. I think there definitely is an Iron Curtain now. It's an Iron Curtain in the digital age. To what extent is it going to be as effective? So we are tracking the situation in Erbil. Just checking my sources. Just lost one of the tankers, I think. After just seeing the footages with big munitions. Michael, yeah, one of the tankers dropped. Jay Nekito, you are the best streamer. I watch your streams every time. Stop it. Stop it, you. Shadow, I'm not exactly sure, but these treasure tankers are most likely heavy and deep reconnaissance. Maybe. I don't know, I'm afraid. It's at relatively low altitude, 26,000 feet. Wow, this one is hauling. 25,000 feet. I wonder if we'll see any... That one used to be Follow Me, right? It's changed to SMS. Wonder if we'll see any fighter jets. Popping transponders on. G saying they've been launched from Iran. Wow. I can't confirm any of this. Let me just in fact, in the spirit of taking these streams a bit more seriously, I'm going to put Erbil in the title. Justin, I found your stream because of the Ukraine crisis, but I bought a G29 wheel next level racing rig, so the videos. Thanks, Justin. I could have got you a discount on GT Omega though. But that is a great combo, G29 and next level racing rig. Sure, you can have lots of fun in that. Let us know if you need any tips. Johnny, I feel like soon I'll wake up and this all was a nightmare. It's a new. I wonder if we will look back at post Iron Curtain falling and feel like in the West it was a peaceful time. In Europe, you know, and the other side is that, well, around the world it wasn't a peaceful time. It wasn't a peaceful time if you were a Iraqi civilian or a Libyan civilian or an Afghani civilian or a Syrian civilian or a Georgian civilian or a Chechen civilian. But so maybe we just, I don't know. But on the other hand, maybe it was more of a peaceful time, I don't know. Welcome, Ray. John saying Abner 24 reports. So let's get the video up then, chat. I'm seeing this the first time as you. So oops. Sorry, let me just seek on this. It appears you can actually see a rocket coming in here. Which is strange, it would be illuminated in that way. So, again, definitely looks like a targeted, you know, someone has fired in rockets there. Dude, I don't know why you guys choose fear over knowledge. That is quite a assertion. I showed the last US Navy vessel I saw on live UA map was the USS Harry Truman just outside of Greece. Do you know if there's any United States vessels in the Black Sea? Are there, you know, Romanian ports that US Navy vessels would dock at? Andrew Wheaton, did you guys know that Ukraine is the biggest country in Europe that isn't Russia? I explained it the other day. You know, if you told me 3 weeks ago about Chernobyl, I haven't seen any of the Chernobyl TV series or stuff like that, so I would feel like I was this kind of, I don't know where it is in Ukraine, but it's probably in this mysterious place and like miles away from anything, run down, probably just like, you know, feral animals around and heavily irradiated. And it shows you that, well, it's not the case. It's right near the Belarus border. There's tons of scientists there. Active decommissioning going on. The sarcophagus is in place. And yeah, a week ago Russian tanks rolled in and there was a change of security. And the scientists who normally go to their accommodation village are now not able to. So yeah, a lot of things about Ukraine that I didn't know. Yeah, I need to spam the caps. It doesn't. I can't hear you any less or more if you put caps in. Stephen Moore says Russia has never won a war on its own. Well, this time it's got Belarus. I don't know if that changes your calculation. Fafnir says Ukraine is closer to Kazakhstan than London is to Edinburgh. Niche reference, but nice. Interesting how the border curves around this thing. Okay, the fighter destroyed the largest airplane ever built that was designed for the construction. Oh, so was the AN-225 built to carry materials for the sarcophagus? I did not know that. I know that there's only one like it. I know they were trying to build another one. I know that it has significantly more tonnage capacity than the next biggest cargo plane. And we spoke about it on the first day of the stream that we hoped it hadn't been destroyed, but unfortunately it has. Chinook east of Krakow. Let's get it on the multi. Unable to find. Okay, it would help if I let east of Krakow. There we go, Chinook in the air, 1,000 feet up. Ian, I thought it was to carry the Buran. Yeah, the Buran was the... What's the polite word? The Buran was the Russian shuttle that was lightly inspired by the US space shuttle. Although I think the Buran could be entirely remote controlled, and I'm not sure the space shuttle could. I think the Buran was also destroyed when the hangar collapsed, but that wasn't in wartime, I think. Welcome, Ashley. Why is all news outlets only reporting this, but never any mention of Israel, Palestine, Saudi, Yemen, Iran, Syria? We've spoken about that on these streams, right? Here is that Qatar 747, and is still hauling over the area. Black Widow wood design saying Lithuania is on red alert. Yeah, keep us updated if anyone gets any news in on the situation in Erbil. Obviously, you know, unlikely to signify, for obvious reasons, an invasion or something like that. But seems to be an interesting provocation. Obviously, a couple of years ago, the United States killed a Iranian general, I think, at Baghdad airport. And in retaliation, Iran fired a few cruise missiles at US bases. That was the previous big international conflict issue before Ukraine. Moses, I know Kazakhstan earned my respect a bit more so far. Let us know more about Kazakhstan. Racist Buran was a space shuttle that never made space. I thought it did. Did it not fly once remotely? Or maybe I got that wrong. I don't think it ever carried cosmonauts. Just checking on the poll, 611 votes. If you're watching, 566 people watching, welcome along everyone. Do feel free to vote in the poll. Will the war in Ukraine be continuing in 1 year from today? It's obviously a bit of an open-ended question, but right now 60% or 59% of people saying no. So, inverted commas, resolved in one way or another. Mo says Kazakhstan declined to help Putin in this war. Okay. See, Justin? Tim, yes, it did an uncrewed orbital flight. Okay. So just trying to see if I can work out what the thoughts are with the rockets we saw. Again, I'll put the tweet up. So here's the tweet. Well, one of the videos. So it definitely looks like a rocket barrage. I don't know if anyone can tell by the angle it's coming down, or if there are any confirmations about where it's been fired from. Stephen Moore's got one for us. Let us know which plane that is. We'll put it in. Johnny, sad people in their 20s already seen the pandemic and now the start of World War One. World War Three, sorry. I would say it's probably worse if you were born in 1920, lived through a global recession most likely, then the rise of Nazism in Germany, and then World War Two, and then reparations. Or if you were born, depends when, well, but if you're born in 1900, then World War One, then appeasement and all that. Okay, good to know about that one. Robert, if you control the power plant, you control the energy, yes. James, where are you streaming from? From London? Stephen Moore says UK subs are in the Black Sea. That is quite a assertion. Don't know where that's come up. Shadow, what do you think the forward motive is for Russia taking these power plants? I guess, you control the energy, you can shut off the energy, you can maintain the energy for when you progress your occupation. So on Sunday, Mariupol, it's been the worst city for utilities being cut off. The other thing about nuclear power plants is that, for obvious reasons, you'd expect you have to be more careful around them. So that's why it was so shocking to see fighting and shelling so very close to these reactors. But it goes back to that saying we talked about a few streams ago, where I think it was a general in Vietnam saying we had to destroy the village in order to liberate it. Russia can't really, you'd think Russia can't really destroy a lot of built-up areas in Ukraine to liberate them. But we just don't know. So, Wizz Air flight from Dubai to Romania, passing very close to Erbil. The thing I find surprising here is we can see these rockets, right, coming in, and it depends what kind of rockets they are and what altitude they reach. But if there's rockets at an altitude where theoretically a airliner could be in that airspace, then that is quite incredible, really, isn't it? When you think about this, Wizz Air is probably the cheapest operator in Europe. So the cheapest seats from Dubai to Bucharest, which is not a flight I knew they operated, and the people on this plane may have no idea that rockets have just been launched into Erbil. Thanks, Soren. Yeah, I think we heard was a lot of money raised for Ukraine. 165 million. Wow. Rob JW, what do people think will happen to Zelensky? I think it may be something that Putin may have miscalculated. He will have met Zelensky a number of times, and Zelensky's background is, amongst other things, but one of his things was he was a comedian or a actor, and Putin may have thought that this is the right time to strong-arm Ukraine, and this actor is just going to flee, and he's not made of anything. And the irony is that Zelensky has maybe one of the things you never really know what people are made of until the situation. Zelensky seems to have absolutely dominated Putin in terms of optics of who is a strong man. The images of Putin sitting on a very long table on his own at the end, doesn't. You don't need to understand any language to feel that doesn't seem like someone who's comfortable in certain ways. At an Iranian TV reporting 6 ballistic missiles fired at US assets in Iraq. Okay. But bear with me. Bear with me a second. Whoa, sorry about that. Right, this is a reported video of the 6 rockets, and yeah, I don't know. Again, this isn't Iran launching rockets into Iraq isn't something that happens all the time. So I don't know if this is an example. I'm going to click it again. It may go very loud. Wait a second. That's okay. Did anyone else's ears just blow? That was. So I wonder if this is an example of the landscape changing and, aggression like this becoming more commonplace. I don't know if anyone knows anything about these missiles. I don't. Let me try and see if there's a article on them. Matchby says long table due to code protocols, but again, it doesn't look confident when you have other leaders shaking hands and they do their tests and whatever, and then for whatever reason Putin is sitting in the long table. So you say it's COVID protocols, but that doesn't inspire confidence, I would say. But again, I don't know. Right, so this is the purported missile. It's a 250 kilometer range. And Supersonic. I don't know if anyone knows what altitude they reach. See, Techno? I never thought you sound like Super GT. Hello, viewers. Martin, Russian government plane flying north of Iran. Do you have a... Martin's absolutely on it. Do you have a reg for that? Well, that's just taken out of... Well, don't know where that transponder's come from, but may have taken off out of Erbil. That is a big ring road, isn't it? At the latest from Iraq Ministry of Defence, no casualties at US consulate, but it is burning. Stephen, well, the beeping is that me or you? No, this is my beeping. And now flying west of... Does it have a call sign for flight radar or not? Rob, Russia has installed a new mayor in Metropole. I saw that they had... Ukraine said they had captured a mayor. Do you know what sort of missiles were they? Battlefield strategic? They look like guided. Guided missiles range of up to 300 kilometers. To fly 300, I don't know if they come from how far they come from, but to fly that distance and hit a fairly small target is crazy when you think about it. Very sure they're ground skimmers, they fly low and fast, okay. No call sign, it's west of Tehran, okay. This is a diplomatic plane, right? That we've seen a lot, haven't we? Seen that GL-70 plane? Where does that come from? What? That was an unusual plane. Lots of these Bombardier private jets going around. Mark, do you think this war is going to give Iran an excuse to start attacks on the USA? The question is why? For what reason would they want to? But I don't know. I think this war is definitely going to mean that a lot more countries are going to want to have nuclear weapons, Iran included. And, you know, ultimately, even though the United Nations purports to respect and defend the sovereignty of nations, and therefore is against invasion, unless they legitimize it, Ukraine has been invaded here. So maybe it's a bit of a green light for other countries. I don't know. Oh, that one with GLEX. Okay. What's the screen bottom right? This is, if you mean this one, this is flight radar. I need to update my overlays. So these overlays are going to show here in big letters what these screens are. Going to make it a bit more snappy. Stephen Moore can't get into live viewing app. We won't refresh ours then. It might be getting a lot of heat now because of Iraq. Ray's watching the news, but no mention of Iraq yet. Mark, there's definitely something going down tonight. I don't know. It's a very weird thing. I mean, maybe there was a target, i.e. an individual, that was in the consulate. I don't know if anyone knows where the consulate is. I don't want to restart live viewing application, use it then, but I don't know if anyone knows where the consulate is in Erbil. If you want to guide me, see if we can get there. Yeah, it's the news channels and broadcast media. They have to verify things and check and double check and speak to the people on the ground, etc. Who's this hauling? Absolutely hauling. So we were just. Should we get a view of Erbil, by the way? Let's get a view of Erbil from the old 3D. Here we go. There we go. That is Erbil. Near to Erbil Airport, okay. Up at 40,000 feet. Number 6 worldwide. Gee, the consulate is north of Erbil, not far from that airport. Okay, so north of Erbil, maybe around here. Is it that kind of compound? Josh says to the right. Is it there? Enhance. Nicola, any gunfighter? If you want to hear about gunfire, then I would just go on combat footage on Reddit or something like that. I'll search Twitter or something. Right, let's check out Erbil then. So that looks. Anyone know where this compound is? You have to guide me, chat. It's going to be painful. No, north of Erbil to the east of the airport. Okay. Is it inside this ring road? College here. International school. Church. Okay, do you think in a year we'll still think this is war in Ukraine? I think so. Erbil office. Oh, this looks compoundy. This looks kind of compoundy. Thanks, Thomas. It's south of the airport, in between the two ring roads. US General Consulate Erbil, that will be it, I suspect. Wow, it's not. It's next to a hospital, medical complex. Just looks like a regular block. Welcome train spotting. Check to my RF airfield standby. Okay, good to hear. Yep, there are political factions everywhere, in every country. Forming a nation involves many uneasy alliances. Yeah, you could say arguably the sign of a healthy nation is that you do have differences, and the political system kind of recognises where the broadest consensus of support is. Right. Recheck my sources. Welcome, 661 people watching. Maybe it's that time then. So, I don't think we've done it for a while, but if you do want to, if you are watching the stream, if you want to let us know where in the world you're watching from, it's always a really interesting thing to see. So, I don't want to say, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you're new as well, so we can welcome you to the space. And it's always very, very interesting to see, because it's just interesting to see where people are watching from and kind of what our context is. Katie is I think Katie's been first in a few times. Katie's ready for the question. So Katie says England, James UK, Ray Miami, Rob J from UK, Eric's from US, woo. Andrew's from USA, Cake is from UK, Yips from Canada, CT from Serbia, Gil from Portugal, Jamie UK, Josh from Bristol with an apple. I don't know what the significance of the apple is, but it's a very nice apple emoji actually. I didn't know the apple emoji was so nice. Chris from USA, Fred from Spain, LH from Belgium, Victoria from UK, Lounsey from Australia, Clip from Czech, FI from Poland, Andrews from US, Sorens from Denmark, Times from US, John's from UK, Stefano's from Italy, Creators from Australia, Mike's from Canada, Declan O'Keefe is from Ireland, Don Bender is from USA, Susan Smith from Scotland, Ian from UK, Depot Club from Brazil, Nicola from Serbia. Whoa. James watching from UK, needs to stream. Welcome, James. TB Lamb from Indiana, Thomas from Czech Republic, Jury from Slovenia, Trainsport is currently at RF Mildenhall, Mark Punter from Mexico, UK, Tim from North East England, Elful from Belgium, Kay from US West Coast, Chiefs from Scotland, James from the US, John from the US, Harvard still in Norway, Yolanda still in the Netherlands, Angie from Chicago, Darcy from South Africa. What's the view in South Africa, Darcy? Because I think South Africa, along with India and China, has been abstaining a couple of times in United Nations. Justin from USA, Matthew McDowell from the USA, Donald's from Canada, Barbara's from Germany, Ronnie's from USA, Justin USA, Sander lurking from Belgium, Jekkas, who I don't understand that, looks like it might be Polish, Socket from USA, Calmeek from Germany, Graham's from England, Christina's from Sweden, Chris is from Edinburgh, Stephen, welcome Stephen from Dallas, Texas, Earth Extremities from London, Fives from Netherlands, Lewis from Portsmouth, Joshua Clark from Channel Islands, Tuomas from Finland. Let us know, Tuomas, what the feeling is right now in Finland. Is Finland feeling like it would rather join NATO or prefer being more neutral? Fion's from Ireland, SJ Hunt from Texas, Sunrise from the east of the UK, Fred again from Spain, Gareth, Belfast, Martin, Netherlands, Bailey Baines, welcome along, from Louisville, Kentucky, I believe, Tom Woods from UK, Dacia from Spain, Keeler 19 from New Jersey, Robinson UK, Jared Huss from Texas, Cyprus, one click from Cyprus. What's the view in Cyprus on this? Welcome along, everyone. Fire saying Casey's got the fastest fingers in the West. Yeah. Raz fans from Romania, let us know what the view is in Romania right now. Would Romania rather that there's more direct support of Ukraine? Because if Ukraine does fall to Russia, then you're going to have either Russia or Russia occupied Ukraine on your borders. Lee been here since day one from RF Waddington. Sonia, welcome back. Sonia from Canada. Dawn is from Kentucky. Poonya's from Bangalore. Let us know what the feeling is in Bangalore. Mike's in Flint, Michigan. Minimalism from Germany. Jim's World from Pennsylvania. Al's from Neverland. Enter Sandman. Andy's Michigan, USA. Allegedly from Somalia. Sanders from Belgium. Kim just says hi. Joel's from New York. Ditte's from Denmark. Terrence from USA. Griffin, New York City. Robin says sorry, Germany. You saying, is there a place called, are you from sorry in Germany, or are you apologising for being from Germany? Marston's from Poland. Darcy's from South Africa. Vlatka's from Croatia. Gaunt's from Western. Is that Western Ukraine? Gaunt? Let us know. Pollock from Scotland. ACR Arkansas. Kim from UK. Clemens Germany. Pete Manchester. Megan New Zealand. Robin lives in the UK but comes from Germany. Okay. War's changed very quickly from Somalia to Iraq. Debbie's from Netherlands. I'm streaming from London. Yes, welcome along everyone. Familiar face and new people. This is our space where we discuss, ask questions, don't pretend to have the answers, and just try and understand what's going on and appreciate different contexts in a respectful way. Tuamis, can you look Finland? I want to see if my country's safe. Well, Finland still exists on this map. Josh saying from the ISS. Yeah, we're very lucky to have the space. Very, 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 very lucky. Oh, that's all that stuff pinging. That's new. Let me know if that's too loud, by the way. Turn it down. Owen Ray, want to tell me why none of the MSN are reporting missile attacks in Erbil? What's going on? Well, probably because they have to verify it, and just a couple of videos on Twitter aren't enough to... They can't make mistakes. They can't broadcast something on their news channels and then it turns out to be faked. So they need to verify it, and they'll have people there on the ground that can, you know, who can verify it, and eyewitness accounts, etc. So different, you know, and you'll get more in-depth reporting there. They'll be able to interview people that have greater understanding of the tensions in that area and, you know, anything that was happening at the consulate. But it takes time. That's the trade-off. No worries, Kevin. Thank you so much, everyone in chat, because we're very lucky to have this space. London. Are there no more cams for sounds? No, I think that the one in Maidan Square has gone. People said CNN have left, but I think it was a Reuters feed that a lot of news organisations were broadcasting. Dan Alex is from Romania. Chris is from Tasmania. Trainspotting, what is a jet icon on live UA map? Angles Air Force Base, a large amount of strategic bombers. Are these a Tupolev Bear bombers, these ones? Again, I don't know if that's unusual or not. But that would be the real horror, I think, is that if Russia is able to achieve air superiority around key areas, and it's a difficult question, right? Because air superiority is not a two-dimensional thing. So basically, there's a difference between... Well, how can I put this? There's a difference between Ukraine not being able to fly their fighter jets over an area, let's say over here at the moment, and But there's another difference of whether Russia can fly bombers over because of man-pads, because of the ground-to-air portable missiles that the West has supplied Ukraine with. Now, obviously, bombers operate at much higher altitude normally, but if Russian strategic bombers can operate over eastern Ukraine, I don't think that's something we've really seen yet. But please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Steve Moore's in bed, Case is in bed, yeah, watching in style. Debbie, do you know what situation now in Lviv? I don't know, but I know a lot of media have pulled back there, so I'm not aware of any bombings there. Stevie, what I've noticed today, Prestwick Airport has been used to land huge C-17s all day. This airport is the only airport in Scotland to land Jumbo jets, so it makes sense to land and refuel. Okay. Josh, how many people will react to the new mayor Militopol set to reject a bit of both? Honestly, I can't put myself in their shoes, because to be under siege and suffer all the casualties and then, you know, I don't know. I think I don't know, it's very difficult, right? We've seen these videos and images of Ukrainians protesting in these occupied towns, but ultimately, if it's under threat of death, then for those people, is it worth protesting? In which case, you know, does the resistance kind of subside down? I don't know. It's very easy to sit where we're sitting, people in bed, people watching on TVs, mobile phones around the world, but I am unable to even understand the reality of living in Melitopol or Mariupol right now. And I think it shows incredible bravery to protest right now and resist. So I can't even comprehend that amount of bravery. Feel like I have friends in Ukraine, East Ukraine and Russia, and everyone, even Ukrainians, are annoyed with MSM painting this as an overnight decision to invade and not the 8+ year build-up leading up to this. I think that's possibly because the West as a whole, we had tolerated what had happened in eastern Ukraine and in Crimea. You know, we had not. There were sanctions applied on Russia. I think that was a time when Russia may have been kicked out of the G8. I can't remember, and it became G7. But ultimately, you know, Russia annexing Crimea and supporting the independence movements in Donetsk and Luhansk did not stop Russia hosting the Football World Cup, perhaps the biggest, behind the Olympics, the biggest kind of projection of soft power. It didn't stop them being awarded the Champions League final this year. It didn't stop them hosting the Formula One race in Sochi over so many years. It didn't stop so many things. So I don't think it's fair to really blame it at mainstream media. It's, you know, did everyone just accept it? We all knew that this had happened. Well, you know, most people knew it had happened, but we tolerated it. I think that's something that even Erdogan said. Interesting perspective, obviously, but saying, well, why did the West tolerate this? This has been the thing about people have said people have said in a realistic sense, capital R, he's been good at salami slicing. He's been good at invading Georgia and not triggering a bigger conflict, annexing Crimea and supporting the independence movements in Donbass and not escalating it into a bigger conflict. You could arguably say that even here, he again is salami slicing it because it is not escalating a bigger conflict. Well, when you sense opposite views, whether right or wrong, you can't call yourself democracy. There's difference between democracy and like liberal democracy and, you know, but, you know, North Korea is purportedly, I forget what the title is, but Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. So you tell me whether North Korea is democratic or not. And you tell me whether North Korea has opposite views in its media or not. But I do agree that the decision to ban Russia Today and Sputnik from the EU, I'm not sure about that. Superbike talk. Rouge nations are just doing what they like, knowing USA is too scared to do anything. I think that is realpolitik. Well, we'll see how it applies to other countries, but there will be a sense of hypocrisy if, let's say, the USA retaliates against Iran, depending on what's happened tonight. A bit like Chelsea fans saying, "Well, hang on, why are we being sanctioned? Why not Newcastle?" The reality is that Iran right now doesn't have a nuclear weapon, although, has been trying to develop one, and you can see why in a realistic sense. But Russia, as Biden put it, American troops fighting Russian troops in Ukraine is World War III. There's no other step. That is World War III. The only possible other step is whether it would be lead to a nuclear World War III. Superbike, can you see fighter jets in your map? We can do when they've got transponder on. I suspect the situation in old Erbil may have calmed down. Ava Air there. Where's this Gulf Stream going? Again, very few flights over Poland. Interesting flight plan. Is that our first KC-130J? I don't know if that is a naval reconnaissance aircraft. Thanks, train spotting. This one took off from London Luton Airport. Yeah, I've seen that visual. I think I made a video on it yesterday. Blazing, anyone who thinks this war will continue for a year is a delusional and a closet warmonger. I don't agree with that. Bill, this situation is the most danger the world has been in since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I agree. And maybe it takes time for that to really sink in. I don't know. Not sure any of the tankers are still visible. Anyway, lots of air traffic now over Erbil. Can you remove the weather from Flight Radar? I can do. You mean the clouds? Let me know why you want it removed. Is it hard to see? After this war will continue for years. Okay, any thoughts on Russia discarding banned weapons? I haven't seen anything from the UN this morning. I saw what happened yesterday. Josh, defo dodgy takeoff from Luton. I mean, I've seen AWACS planes take off from Luton, so I don't think it's surprising that it's taken off from Luton. I don't think that's out of the ordinary. Can't see any Eurofighters with transponding today. Dashiad, I really doubt Putin has the money to maintain a war for many months more. It might not just be money, it might be willingness, but we've seen with the Chechen wars and, you know, the presence in Syria, I don't know. Yeah, we've seen what's been happening in Erbil. I haven't seen anything official either way on it, to be honest. To be very honest. Just more footage on it. In Iran, there's the army in Iran is quite unusual. I think you have like the Iranian army, then you have the Revolutionary Guards. There's different bits of armed forces in Iran, and they have slightly different loyalties. I can't remember exactly how it works, but so it would be interesting, obviously very interesting to know where these have come from. Max says launch from Azerbaijan. That would be very weird. I haven't seen that anywhere. Thanks. Yeah, I think we saw the Predator drone, but it's a bit of a weird altitude reading. At nothing official from anywhere other than there were explosions. Mark, why is the airspace over Afghanistan empty? 9 exclamation marks? I don't know. So Fred, the following message appeared in the Iranian Telegram channel. There's not one Iranian Telegram channel. So maybe in a Iranian Telegram channel. Bill says the sanctions are hurting badly. He's lost 400 billion to 620 billion USD of his personal war chest. I don't know. I mean, I suspect the slightly more important factor is the ability to supply with fuel, food, repairs of components of military vehicles, and the practical supply lines of that are probably more important than a perhaps more paper or paper monetary assets. Rebel says, good point, well made. You don't see that in other chats. Willie says, NATO involvement in this proxy war has rallied up NATO's interests. Oh, thanks, Train Spotting. Is that the Italian drifting tanker? Let's try and get that up if we can. I can't see it at the moment, but let us know whereabouts it is. See if we can track any more of these private jets as well. So this one Does anyone know what the story would be this one? It's come from the Maldives. It's come from the Maldives in the Indian Ocean and looks to be heading to Moscow. And I think there was another one heading the other way, but I might have been wrong. Yeah, this one heading from Moscow. Potentially heading to the Maldives, we don't know. Ah, here we go. Taken off from Erbil. Or transponder on from Erbil. 16,000 feet. Numpty says because nobody wants to go to Afghanistan, it's a complete dump. That's pretty offensive to Afghanistanis and their entire country. Because if how will you pay your troops to do that with that money? Well, Russia can always print more rubles. So they can always print more rubles. Obviously that will cause inflation. But there'll never be a case of Russia not having, paper money, rubles. It's a question of how they'll be able to sustain the economy and produce the food, etc. Stephen, how does Discord chat? Yeah, we don't use Discord for this kind of stuff. Discord is the sim racing only. Yeah, for the 644 people watching, if you are enjoying the stream, do feel free to subscribe if you're new here. Feel free to hit the like button. I can see the likes begin with a 3, which is crazy. I don't think we've possibly ever had more than 300 likes in a stream, which is mad. All these streams are part of a playlist, and I'm going to go through and actually retitle them so there'll be the date that they were recorded. So there'll be this playlist of like every day, the stream. They might not appear in search. They might only appear in that playlist. I'll need to decide on that. But if you are new here and you are enjoying the space, and if you're watching and not in the chat, I feel you. I appreciate you. And we're very lucky to have this space, and it's basically down to the community and the mods. Really? Jolanda saying registered San Marino. Maldives best vacation place during winter. I've never been to the Maldives, but I can imagine. Back to reality. Back to Moscow. Where is that plane? Here we go. Back to Moscow. You are needed. Vernon, is this all looped? Do you mean these? I don't think these cameras are looped. I'm not looped. I don't think. Let me know if I am. Jonas says printing money equals stream for population. There's big economic arguments there. Yeah, the stock exchange is all closed though. Obviously questions about nationalising assets. You could say that's a logical thing to do if your assets have been frozen abroad in the kind of tit for tat. TX Firebrand. Anyone think Russia has been holding on to its best and brightest military, baiting NATO into a war, saving the best for NATO? I don't know. If Russia wanted to bait NATO, there's more things they could be doing. So they could attack supplies into Ukraine, which they've threatened to do, but they haven't done. But like he said that yesterday. Yeah, this is just yesterday's stream. Josh, can we talk about Port Vale for a bit? If you can explain why Port Vale merits kind of mention on the geopolitical stage, then absolutely. Al Capone saying Erbil is one of the oldest cities on Earth and should be preserved. It does look like a very... I've obviously... Well, maybe not obviously, but I've never been to Erbil, but the way the city is set out, I don't know if this is kind of the old fort or something, but... It's just a car. The way the shadows are here, I don't know what's going on. Is this recessed? I mean, it looks very... There's a grand mosque in the middle. It does look like a very interesting city, the way it's set up. I don't know if anyone knows of any other city like this is a common way in this part of the world. I mean, Mosul's not so much like that. Obviously, Mosul was in the news a lot about 15 years ago or so. But it does look like a very interesting city. Big highway here, heading in. And it just kind of ends up on this small road here. And then this... See the old... Looks like old walls. The old city. See the shadow. It's like a moat almost. Bill's driving an auto hot laps on a set of course, very nice. Stevie, will there be civil war in Russia if Russia loses this war? I don't know enough about kind of Russian independence movements, but we'll definitely think more about that if it looks like the tide is turning that way. Phaser, this can't be called a proxy war. Yeah, I've said in the past this isn't a proxy war because Russia's actively involved, but people have corrected me and said, well, it is a proxy war for NATO, so I don't know the semantics on that. Mr. Shoko says, hello from Erbil. I'm afraid I don't know who you are, Mr. Shoko, but you do have a tick by your name. Don't know if anyone knows Mr. Shoko. Mr. Shoko, if you are from Erbil, can you how old is this original kind of citadel in the middle? Shane says raw levels over Cyprus, okay. Pollock, I seen on Time Team. Was Time Team the one with that guy from Blackadder? Steven said it's on a hill. Okay. Shame we can't go into a tilted view here. That would explain the shadow down here. Alright, do you think we're in World War III already? No, I don't think so. I think NATO Article 5 hasn't been invoked. Yeah, old. How long before Russia attack at the NATO border? I don't think that will happen, but I could be wrong. I'm not an expert. John A says 5th century BC. 5th century BC. So this settlement is 2,000... Well, the origins of the settlement 2,500 years old. So that is an old city. Mr. Shuko says it's like 2000 BC. So 4,000 years old. I didn't study history. I was terrible. What other facts do you have about Erbil, Mr. Shuko? Welcome, Blaze. Jekka Rebel, I can't find out if evidence. Don't care. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Entitled to your view? Vida, we've been told to be ready to enter Ukraine 28th March. Who's that? Is that from Russia entering Ukraine? Al Capone saying 7,000 years old. We've gone from 2,500 to 5,000 to 7,000 years old in Erbil. Mr. Shoko saying 14 missiles from Iran. I think I heard 6 elsewhere, but it's all still very much breaking. Patricia says, for people who are saying that Putin will lose popularity in Russia, that means you don't really know what Russia means and what the real purpose was. Let us know, Patricia. Enlighten us. What do Russians mean and what is the real purpose of this war? Jolanda likes Time Team. I don't think Time Team's on TV anymore. I'll be honest, I never was that interested in Time Team, but Ban Van just says, Google it. Cutting to the chase, Band Van. That would be the easy way, right? BSDF Kirith is asking the most pressing questions about what's going on in Erbil. To understand what's going on in Erbil, we need to understand the history of Erbil. Can we find here's the US consulate? But again, it's surprising that, well, not... It's a block. So, how precise can rocketry from Iran be to narrowly target this consulate? Mr. Shuko, my door shook for a couple of seconds and one of our news organisations called Kurdistan 24 was heavily damaged. You can check it yourself. So can you confirm this is the consulate? And you know, it looks to be really close to this hospital. Jolan says, I'm making you upset. Okay. Sorry, Patricia, I didn't see, maybe I missed it. What is the true meaning of this war? Eric, not enough people in Russia that oppose the war to make a difference. Not everyone in Russia opposes the war. A lot of them support it. Yeah, a lot of people would support what your country does. I think a lot of people say that people in the West inherently support what their country does. Really, we're a global civil engineering consultancy group, but a lot of staff at St. Petersburg in Russia at the moment. Al Capone said it could be older than 7,000 years old. It is a very... It looks like a very interesting place to visit. Dream City here. I don't know if this is a more modern place. Indian consulate, government offices, international school, which you tend to find around areas where you have embassies and consulates. Airport Road. Very interesting, I guess, residential tower blocks here. I don't know if these are commercial blocks. But again, it's kind of these circular places are big. I don't know what this is here, but feels like it would be a very impressive place to go and visit. Parks, big parks here again, more circles. Is there any, Mr. Shukar, is there any significance to the circles in Erbil? Perhaps it means something in the heritage. Jack F, there's no way the consulate was hit. Let us know why you believe that. Two, three, four. If I was slightly unhinged, I'd press the button. CKT, thanks for joining again. Appreciate it. Hope you found it a positive space in your day. Bug Money saying all of the missiles missed US. Find out resident saying it's completely false. Galactic North just shouting Funketh 530. I don't know what that means. Al Capone says my friend is from Erbil but lives here in Hull. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I won't say it. JTNA, human settlement in Erbil may be dated back to the 5th millennium BC. At the heart of the city is the ancient citadel of Erbil and the minaret. Patricia, you against Putin. Of course, Putin has a few reasons, but genocide is the main for Russian people. So do you... Okay. I don't dispute that, and I don't think in the West we, like I said, you know, even after the annexation of Crimea and the independence movements in Donbass, there hasn't been that much reporting on it, I would say, and it's been tolerated, and Russia has been in the international fold. Paul, what do you think this means for the Iran nuclear deal? The Iran nuclear deal seems to change all the time, so I don't know. Mr. Shuko, people used to live there since it was built by ancestors, and they stopped living there in 1980 because it was getting bigger, but now it's more like a museum. Oh, okay, so people... Is this... So... Is there any really old stuff here? It's not evident that there's any kind of big roads in and out, so yeah. Train I got to go. I'm on a flight from Mildenhall to Bryce Norton. You're on a flight from Mildenhall to Bryce Norton in a B-52. Pulling my leg. Jack F, I'm looking at a satellite image of the fires burning. I see roughly 7 separate fires. All fires appear to be northeast and east of Central Erbil. Yeah, there's a satellite that you can view that have the heat imaging. I don't know if anyone has access to that and can see where the fires are. Again, the idea that cruise... they may not be cruise missiles, but if single-stage rockets can be launched from somewhere in Iran and target this with accuracy would seem astonishing. Welcome, Captain Polish. After I flew over it at night. JTNA, the region dates to the 3rd dynasty of the Ur of Sumer. Yeah, because this part of the world... Isn't this part of the world, it was Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia wasn't it one of the first civilizations? Am I getting that wrong? So I don't know if Erbil was a major population center in Mesopotamia. Armin just says 2022 is very sad. I can't disagree with you on that, actually. Well, the 2 rings are ring roads. Yeah, they look like it. This one looks massive. Sorry. Well, it's kind of more ring roads, but it's been an interesting place to navigate. Mishike, some people call Erbil second Dubai. Okay. Rach, why are all the lights out in Kyiv? Either an enforced blackout, which we've seen before, or power cut. Some lights in here, so maybe an enforced blackout. Bradley, if we get a general update situation, right now, a lot of diplomacy occurring, and looks like the Russians are trying, around Kyiv at least, to progress past this airfield here. There's been a lot of fighting and trying to encircle Kyiv. Also in southern cities, Russians are making progress in terms of occupying and either making deals with mayors or trying to replace mayors. Alright, so how's the US going to react? Don't know. The Sumerian. Did I get it wrong? Sumerian. Land between the rivers. I think the rivers, there was lots of silt in the rivers or something, which meant that the land was very fertile or something. I can't remember. It was a long time since Mesopotamia. Miss Shucker, yet we are the oldest civilization in the world, but what gives? We have been destroyed by Turkey, Iran, everywhere else. Eric, you think sanctions will stop Russia? I don't think so. I think it just will change the shape of the Russian economic system. I think ultimately it's more likely to galvanize the Russian population against the West. So that's just what I think. Year-old, sad reality is Ukraine is just being destroyed day by day. So much heavy firepower now surrounding cities that ain't looking good. And the fact that West media showing every detail is mad. Yeah, it's hard to see what the end game is here. Mark Williams, we're all one big family sometimes. We forget, yeah, which, you know, the funny, well, it's not funny at all, but the thing is that a lot of these Russian soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers, you know, on another day, in a parallel, not even parallel, just like on another day, they could probably all, you know, watch some boxing or some football and have some beers and, you know, converse, and circumstances have happened such that they're now killing each other, and some are going to die in like horrendously brutal ways. And I don't know if it's only at the point that you realize you are going to die that maybe then you realize that it wasn't worth fighting for, or something. I don't know. I've no idea. But it is, yeah, very sad. Yeah, what about India accidentally firing a missile at Pakistan? Yeah, I think India just said that was their bad. And Pakistan's pretty cool with it. So, seems to have been resolved, that one. Epicurus says Ukraine numbers are hilarious. Not sure that's the right word to describe it. It's crazy, we're just different breeds of human race. One race is different. Detpick, I'm sad to see that neither Sky News nor BBC reported the attack. It takes time for them to verify stuff. You know, we streamed, I think, 15 days in a row on Ukraine. There's some stuff that we see in the news that was a day or two late, but they had to review it, and they will be able to provide you with more insight that I can. It's different formats, I would say. Super Actor saying Michael Conlon just KO'd. I can't remember who Conlon was fighting. Yeah, no confirmation, Bradley, on what was hit. Only we've seen the videos of the missiles. all the rockets. Let me just try and put this other video on. Just bear with me. In fact, I'm going to mute it in case it's very loud. So it's another video. I mean, you can see that the consulate is such a small. Again, this may be one of these things. And we talk about why isn't it on NBC? Why isn't it on BBC? You know, we heard, oh, the US consulate in Erbil has been hit by rockets. That may have just been someone putting two and two together. This may be somewhere else. It seems difficult to confine a rocket attack. The amount of destruction you can see there seems a much broader kind of region than this block. So again, that's the kind of stuff that they'll be confirming. Thanks for the new subscribers. Hope you enjoy the space. No need to be like that. 2, 3, 4. Mods will ban you for that kind of stuff. Bishop said the missiles missed their targets, but a shockwave of their missiles caused heavy damage. Do you know where they hit, Mr. Shuko? CZ says, fact is we don't know much and mostly disregard the history around this war and what truly caused it. 30 years of ignorant NATO expansion politics. I do believe that there must surely have been a way to avoid this, and surely after the fall of the Soviet Union, there could have been a different path, and the West could have done stuff differently to better integrate Russia into that international framework, and to not have Russia in a place where it felt like it needed to do this. Thanks, Martin, for that. Chevy saying CNN website reporting it. Sky News Arabic having new attacks. Yeah, it'll just takes a bit of time. Their Western people might be sleeping. It is 20 to 1 a.m. in the UK. We're probably going to go till 1 a.m. I would say. Shivio says an attack on American assets is an act of war regardless. Is what Russia is doing in Ukraine an act of war, or is it a special military operation? Gerald, this is Flight Radar 24. I'm going to upgrade the stream. I was doing it just before I went live. No time to finish it. We're going to put the assets in these blue things at the top. Do people have any ideas for what they would like on the stream, by the way? You can see that there's space. We can add more stuff. Jonas says 15k killed in the final losses. I think you'll find that. I think Ukraine said say that they'd lost a couple of thousand. David Silver says still no reason to invade a country. Jim Sword, imagine Russia's actions if there were no NATO. Josh, do you make money as a YouTuber? I don't make any money off this channel. So everything I make in this channel from donations, adverts, etc. goes back in the channel. Sim racing is very expensive. So this monitor was £550. This steering wheel, base, pedals, about £700. this rig was provided to me, but it's about £700. Mixer, £150. Microphone, over £200. Stream Deck, £150. PC, don't even want to get into the PC. So, but it means that we can, so both of these sources we have subscribed to on their paid plans to remove adverts and get some more functionality. But yeah. Tingle, the first page is to free up Donbass. This will free up a lot of force to the offensive and fill the main problem of the war. Welcome, Just Paper. Mishuk says you have 17,000 subscribers. I have 105k subs. Trust me, YouTube is awful, especially in Iraq. You must be one of the biggest Iraqi YouTubers. I make $100 less per 1 million views. Gonter's PC. My PC is RTX 3080 graphics card, Core i5 10600K CPU overclocked to 4.9 gigahertz, 32 gigabytes Corsair RGB Vengeance RAM, Gigabyte Z490 Vision D motherboards, 750 watt gold Seatonic PSU, 3 Samsung 970 1 gigabyte NVMe SSD cards, lots of fans, Be Quiet fans, and a Be Quiet DX500 case. Your also says Article 5 vote one time when the aim was to take Taliban out of government. Let's just say I think it may have failed. Jack saying Western media is laying like hell. Don says, why are we watching Erbil? There was a rocket attack on Erbil just about an hour or two ago. But you see here we've got Kyiv up as well. But what if Russia, Iran and China joined to upset the world order and look to destroy US new cities? That is very... out there. Dan saying Erbil centrist raise ain't emote. Yeah. I don't know if you're a little bit behind on the stream, Dan. But we now know it's on a hill and it's possibly 7,000 years old. And the middle bit isn't that populated. It's a bit like a museum now. And the ring roads are insane. Yeah, we're going to go till 1 a.m. UK time. And again, thanks everyone for being respectful. Different views is by being respectful, it means that we can have different views, and if you have a different view, you can present it and it's listened to, rather than just speaking to people who believe the same thing as you. Or being immediately banned, so... Seabite also says Iran's nuclear power. I mean, it has a nuclear power plant, I think, but I don't think it has a developed nuclear weapon. Super Tour saying India isn't at war with the USA or EU. Thanks for clarifying that. I don't understand where you're going, Super Tour. I'll be honest. Seems a bit out there. You're old. I think China need EU and America to keep afloat. They have small margins but high volumes. They don't want no war. Lots of hospitals in the south. This bit looks different. Warehouses or something. Customs. Done back. High mods. I mod multiple channels. It's good exercise. Yeah. The mods are made of something else. Tingle says, what you have sown you will reap. This is an internal law. Check the older sources. So by the way, this stream is going to be unlisted when it finishes. So you won't be able to search it on YouTube, but it will be in the playlist. So on my channel page, there is a playlist with every video from covering Ukraine. And the reason for that is I think YouTube is getting very confused between sim racing content and this kind of geopolitical content and cross-recommended it. So because these videos are really, these are very much a live experience, I think it's best we have them live and then they go into the playlist rather than get recommended as videos. So just to let you know, if you in the future, if you missed one and you want to see it, it will be in the playlist. Rebel, do you think China is tapping up certain African nations to develop? I mean, China definitely has its Belt and Road Initiative. The context to which, how that's received by the population, I don't know. But it's a good point. Some view it as neo-colonialism. Maybe I'll get a notification if you hit the bell. If you hit the bell icon, yes, you'll get a notification. So the best way if you want to follow these streams is to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And then when I go live, or when we go live really, you'll get a notification. But bear in mind, if you do that, you'll get notifications for sim racing content as well. Don Backers putting their hand up for mod online about 18 hours a day, 16 doing tactical analysis on Ukraine. Do you work for the CIA? Dead Club, I saw a bunch of guys on my yeah, there's a lot of content that has to record to certain rules on YouTube. Yeah, try and keep it pleasant. Yeah, 5 minutes to go. So we're going to end the stream at 1 a.m. So again, if you do have other streams that you recommend, or perhaps just other sources, feel free to put them in the chat for people to go to. This one up here is live stream events. If you want this one, Russia is wake up people. Russia is being held hostage by Putin. Backlader gotta go away to fight some extreme leftists. So you can join this one. Live stream events. This is live UA map. This is Flight Radar 24. So if you have any places you recommend, feel free to put them into the chat. Let's refresh live UA map. Yeah, these are they what, Tu-54 bombers? Tupolev bombers, I think. Oh, Tu-95, okay. Basically B-52 equivalents. So it looks like a strategic bomber base in Russia. Don, I took my army commission in 1988 just before Soviets collapsed. Aside from a career as a professional trade, since then my focus has been on strategic and international affairs and defence. Yeah, there we go. I think it's day. Is it day 16? I think it might be day 16. Stream 15. I lose track. I'm going to go through and number them all, so we'll find out definitively. And should be back tomorrow. But again, best way if you like this space is to subscribe and hit that bell. Because I said yesterday or day before, although we stream for the first, I think, 15 days back to back, it's not going to be every night, so just to let you know. Mr. Shuka saying, just want to confirm it was 12 missiles. Most of them were taken out by the US Consulate Air Defense System, and 6 of them failed to hit their target and landed somewhere called Persian Erbil. Okay. I'm sure we'll get a lot more news on that. Place here just called Knowledge. But yeah, it is 1 minute to 1 a.m. So we are going to end this channel. So people put in a few different places that you can go to. Hope everyone is well on this Saturday night or now Sunday morning in the UK. I hope these streams are a positive space. Maybe means that you don't feel pressured to check the news all the time during the day, because you know we have this space here where we can catch up on everything and you can just put whatever you want in the chat and we discuss it. Should be back tomorrow at 10 p.m. But if I'm not, then I'm not. It should be. And yeah, really appreciate everyone for the space this evening. You guys and girls really make it. And still following what happens in Ukraine, heading in, well, we're now in the 3rd week, but heading into Monday, we're kind of the weekend ends, and we'll see what happens. Still a very surreal situation. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate the support. Hope you enjoy the space. And I'll see you all next time.
You are watching Kyiv card. You are watching a Kyiv card. Is there excitement? Is there anger? Maybe curiosity? Well, just let us know your thoughts in the comments. Ask any question you might want to ask. Is there excitement? Is there anger? Maybe curiosity? Well, just let us know your thoughts in the comments. Ask any questions you might want to ask. If you like what you see, then go ahead and feel free to subscribe to our channel. But if you want to see more and the blood's rushing in your veins because you can't wait till the next one, well then check the description and you'll find a link. You will find a link to Discord, a link to Discord. I know it may get difficult, things would seem dark, your mind frozen like a tree's bark, but that should stop us to thrive. Get to the top, win the gold, and the thrill won't stop, because this is Kyiv card. Kyiv card. You are watching a Kyiv card. Is there excitement? Is there anger? Maybe curiosity? Well, just let us know your thoughts in the comments. Ask any questions you might want to ask, because this is a Kyiv card. With the speed on show, now you're gonna know how to get fast like a dart, just like Kyiv card. You are watching Kyiv card. You are watching a Kyiv card. You are watching Kyiv card.